What's going on, everybody? It's Joel here, and today we're going to be taking a first look at the Inov-8 f-lite Max. Alright, so I wasn't even planning on doing a video today, but to my surprise and of course joy, I got a package in from Inov-8, and inside of that package were a couple pairs of the brand new f-lite Max training shoes. So today I'm going to be giving you my first impressions of these shoes, and then we're going to take them into the gym and we're going to do a workout. So what are the f-lite Maxes? Just kind of browsing through their website, they are dubbed as a hybrid training shoe with more cushion. So the original f-lites were not my favorite. I have a review on those and I'll put it in the description, but they weren't my favorite because they were not what I expected. Maybe they were just very soft, minimal running shoes in my opinion. You could get away with lifting in them, but they were a little sloppy feeling to me, and they never really cracked my rotation. Usually I like pretty light, flexible shoes, but there was something about them. They were just really spongy and soft, and I want to say, I think flimsy is the best word to describe them. Holding the f-lite Max in my hand, I can tell you already that this shoe feels much more stout than the original f-lites. So let's take a look around this shoe. We have a really open mesh upper, like you can see right through it. It's extremely perforated, and I would assume that the breathability of this shoe is going to be very good. So with that mesh upper, it's like an engineered mesh. There are some breaks in it to give it more ventilation, and then there are some panels that give it ideally more structure. Like it still has those kind of like Inov-8 stripes on the side, but it's a one seamless upper pretty much throughout. And then on top of that upper, there are some overlays around the eye stay and then around the ankle collar, and then there's just like kind of a thicker overlay for the heel counter as well. So it feels like a very lightweight style training shoe slash, I guess, running shoe, because obviously you can tell that the midsole on the shoe it's a little bit thicker. Let's check the website for the stack height, and it looks like the stack height is 17 millimeters in the heel, and then the forefoot is 11 millimeters. So you're looking at a 6 millimeter drop, which it does say right at the back of the shoe. And then this does have the PowerFlow Pro midsole, which I think was the same midsole that was on the original f-lites as well. You still do have the boomerang insole on this shoe, so it's pretty thick. I guess I want to say it's made out of like EPE and EVA blend, which on the original f-lites didn't do so well in my opinion, because it just, like, that shoe just in general was just like really soft. But I think the addition of more foam in the midsole on this makes them feel a lot more stout and sturdy, and actually more like a training shoe than the f-lites did. Now, taking a look at the tongue and the ankle collar, we have a very minimal, really thin tongue that is not gusseted. So that might bother some people. I have one shoe on right now. It doesn't bother me too much. But the ankle collar is very thin. There's like one little piping of foam that goes around it, but it is very thin. So I'm wondering how that's going to hold up, because it already just on my foot feels a little flimsy. So hopefully heel containment holds up pretty well. The outsole of the shoe is kind of like Inov-8's typical tread pattern. You have the Inov-8 wording on the back. You have MetaFlex grooves in the front of the shoe, and then the dynamic, or I guess just normal fascia band. It's not called dynamic anymore, but it's basically this midsection of the shoe that increases like torsion. One thing that I noticed when taking pictures of these shoes is that the toe spring was pretty aggressive on this shoe, which lends itself I guess, more towards being a runner or a hybrid training shoe, whatever you want to call it. And then, of course, we have the Rope Tech guards in the midfoot, which they don't really go up too high. There's still some exposed midsole on the medial side and on the lateral side. But honestly, I think if you're good about rope climbing, you're probably not going to burn through that. I always worry about having exposed midsole. It's not for grip, it's mainly for the descent, because if that rope makes contact with that, it's going to burn right through it. But then I also am worried about this material too, because it's so thin. But typically Inov-8's a pretty good rope climbing shoes. Now, holding these in my hand, even though they feel a lot more sturdy than the last model, they are also very, very light. I have a size 10.5 and it is only 249 grams or 8.8 ounces, which that is an extremely light training shoe. I'm pretty sure the f-flies were a little bit lighter, but I mean, anything around this territory is extremely light. Now for sizing Inov-8 shoes, it can kind of be a mixed bag with all their different models, but for these, I think 10.5 is a perfect fit for me. I have one of the shoes on right now and I've got plenty of space in the toe box. I wouldn't say that these are the most extremely wide toe box. Like, they're probably a little bit less wide than the f-lite and f-lite max, but they're still plenty wide. There's a lot of volume in them, and I still have maybe half a centimeter in the front. So to me, that's a perfect fit. I don't like my toes being all the way in the front of the shoe. Obviously, I don't like my feet getting crushed in the toe box, but I also don't like a lot of room in my toe box too for my feet to slide around. And I think a 10.5 for me is like right on the money. Comparing it to maybe some of the other shoes out there, it's obviously going to be a little bit more tight than Rad V2s. It's actually pretty on par with the Metcon 10s that I've been using. Not quite as wide as Metcon 9, not as wide as Nano 15, but still pretty good. And then not as long, but probably as wide as CXT2s. That's all I have about like the first impressions of the actual build quality. I feel like these are gonna do better than the f-flies or the normal f-flies. There's some things that I don't like about them already, like the tongue and the ankle collar, just because I find that the tongue in the very front of the shoe is already bunching up, and then the ankle collar is a little bit light. Toe spring, I wonder how that's gonna hold up for lifts, but overall, I already feel like I'm gonna like these better than the original f-lite. So now it's time to get into the gym and then do a workout. Okay, so we have the f-fly max on. Excuse me if I say f-lite max, because I'm just accustomed to saying that. And this is basically gonna be like snatching in more stable running shoes. I got power snatches, actually fairly heavy power snatches. So this is gonna be interesting. I might have to cut the weight a little bit. But right now, like, my first impressions, just having them on and kind of moving around a little bit, they feel a lot more sturdy underfoot because of the extra foam. There's some give there for sure. They're definitely cushioned, but not like super soft. You can definitely run in these, but I think you can get away with a host of lifts in them as well. 6mm drop. Not too sure about that toe spring. It doesn't feel too bad right now. I want to say immediately I like them a lot better, and I feel like despite the height, I feel like I'm going to be able to lift in them better than I did the normal f-flies, which I did bring in with me. The grip on these is solid. It's really solid. And like the flexibility is really good, but as I mentioned a little bit earlier, the ankle cushioning, the ankle support is non-existent. I went on a pretty long run yesterday and my right ankle's kind of sore, a little bit bothering me, and these shoes are not doing me any kind of favors. Yeah, grip feels really good. They just kind of feel a little disconnected from the ground. Feel decently stable. I mean, it's only 95 pounds, but the grip is really good. Still pretty responsive, despite that cushioning. And like, truth be told, I'm pretty sure they didn't design these with heavy oldie lifts to be the main objective. Now, like, if you can get like 50–60% of your lifts in, which is kind of where we're at right now, it'd be all right. The bar's moving, so that's a good thing. They are undoubtedly tall, and you can feel that. Like, if I land incorrectly, kind of off to the side or something, I feel like there goes my ankle. Oh, still going up, like right around 70%. Didn't land in the greatest position there. All right, so yeah, now the cushioning is starting to catch up with them. Starting to feel that cushioning. Really shouldn't be affecting me that much. Like, it's hard for me to maintain my position with my feet in the pool. Might be the cushioning, might be the drop. Also, when I land my feet, I want to shift off the platform, kind of like Nano 15s. Okay, the only other pair of shoes that I have are the normal f-lites. See if the cushioning is the issue. These at least don't have as tall a platform, so my feet not likely gonna slide off. I don't think I'm gonna be able to hit much more than this and those. Okay, we'll try changing back, see if I can hit it. Let's go. Oh, there we go. Not super confidence inspiring. You know, past a certain point in these and weight, and they do become a little bit vague, is what we'll say. Oh, that was better. So they really think about sitting into it a little bit more. I'm getting them now, but it just kind of feels like I'm like yeeting the bar right now, doing whatever I can in order to get it up there. But like, to be fair, like, I don't expect anybody to be buying these shoes thinking that they're gonna be the greatest ollie shoes. I mean, it's obvious that they're not designed for that. But I think if you're using these for like 50%, 60% lifts, maybe even 70% lifts, they're gonna do just fine. Like, you're like, needed a high rock shoe. I'm sure that these would do fine as well. They feel like they'd be good for running. I'm sure you could push a sled, feel stable enough to carry some kettlebells. And definitely, you could definitely do wall balls in these, for sure. But it's, I think for like heavy barbell ollie lifts and probably like heavy squats and deadlifts, these probably aren't going to be the ones. But once again, I don't think Inov-8 had intended you to think that, and I don't think anyone that's shopping for these also thinks that. Oh, it felt decent. Got under it a little bit quicker. Bent my knees on that one. Probably the best one yet. A little forward. Like I said, I'm like throwing the barbell up, trying to get it into place. Because now the shoes are pretty vague and my timing is a little thrown off. But you know, it comes down to how strong and how technical you are. Like, if you're a better CrossFitter, weightlifter than me, I'm sure you'll be okay. But for a somewhat average level CrossFitter, maybe above average, just a little bit, I think that these are going to be a little bit on the too soft side for heavier lifts relative to you. Okay, 180, we'll get a crack at it and then move on. Yeah, probably not happening today. All right, so today we're going to be using the f-lite maxes in a workout that they're probably more designed for. The day I filmed my first impressions for these shoes, I snatched and I did the workout Nate. So the workout didn't really test them, and then snatching, I used them and they weren't so great, but they're not really designed for that movement. I also used them yesterday in another kind of like body weight dumbbell squat snatch workout, and they did okay with the dumbbell squat snatches because the weight wasn't super heavy, but did some burpees in that workout as well, or they were actually pretty good for. But once again, not really a true test to these shoes. Today we're actually going to be running, we're going to be rowing, we're going to be doing wall balls, and we're going to be doing wall walks. So kind of like the hybrid workout, if you will. So I think today we're going to get a better feel for how these are going to actually perform for the intended use, which is hybrid training. Okay, so this workout is 10 wall walks, 200-meter run, 30-calorie row, 40 wall balls, 500-meter run, and then into a 3-minute rest into the inverse. So 500-meter run, 40 wall balls, not 400, 30-calorie row, and then 200-meter run, and then 10 wall walks. I'm going to do the first run inside. I'm going to do the second run outside, so you're not going to see me for a little bit. But I want to test how these feel on both the runner and outside. Grip was pretty good doing wall walks. Just a little loose around the ankle. The cushion is very good for running. It's not too soft. Pretty responsive. Grip pulls the track really well. Ankle is a little bit loose. That's about it. Otherwise, really good response. Energy return. Really freaking light. Super nice to run in. Does feel like there's a lot underfoot, and it caters to more like a midfoot strike. That's just how I run. So I think these things work really well for me. Toe box is wide but not sloppy. Really like that about these. Had to break up the wall ball a lot more than I thought I wanted to. Mainly mental. My legs are like tired today. I don't know why. Maybe yesterday's workout. But otherwise, the run, obviously I slowed down on the second run. But all the way to the wall balls, I thought I was cooking. I finished those wall walks in like a minute 20 or something. That's pretty fast. We'll see how it goes the other way. Definitely gassed out. Having the wall walks at the end, far worse. Far worse. The run inside and outside was totally comfortable with these. I think they're good for both. It's rare sometimes some shoes are too soft or don't have enough foam in the front. It makes it hard to pull the track. But these have a decent amount of foam in the front. Makes it easy to pull the track. I think they're more of a midfoot strike shoe, but if you heel strike, they're still good for that too. When I was getting tired, I went into a heel strike
and they felt just fine. Though I think that mid-foot striking felt better. But I mean, you got to run how you got to run, and I think either way, they're really good. They're very breathable, super light. If there's anything that you can take away from this is that they're super light, but they still have structure because of the foxing. But otherwise, man, you know, like if I didn't have heavy days, I might just consider using these because they're freaking good, or they're good for like lighter body weight running, rowing, hybrid workouts. But yeah, pretty good first impression. Aside from doing barbell stuff.